If you like caramel, you're gonna love my homemade caramel recipe. When you make it at home, you control the level of caramelization from light to dark. It's all up to you, and it's gonna be silky smooth every time. Hey, you're watching Preppy Kitchen, where I, John Cannell, teach you how to make delicious homemade dishes to share with your family and friends. This caramel will be ready in a snap, so let's get started. First off, get all of your ingredients together. You want your cream, your butter, your salt, your sugar, your water, your pastry brush, even your whisk, everything handy. You don't want to be scurrying around the kitchen when something's about to bubble over. So get it in place, and then into a medium pot, add 1.5 cups or 300 grams of granulated sugar. In you go. All that sugar right into the pot. Give it a little shake. I'm gonna add in 1/4 cup or 60 ml of plain water, nothing fancy. If you've ever made a caramel at home and it's all like crunky, gunky, like seized up after it's cooled down, instead of being silky and wonderful, it's because it was stirred too much. You do not want to stir the sugar and water at all as soon as it's on heat. What we can do is just I can use my whisk and just move things around gently, moving some of that dry sugar into the wet area and tapping it around just a bit. Gentle, gentle, gentle. Then my mixture is mostly soaked in, and now we're gonna place it over a medium heat. And what can you do? Almost nothing. It has to just be on its own. One thing that you can do is mind the sides though. When you make a caramel, or really anything over a high heat, it's nice to have a thick walled pot. If it's really thin, it'll scorch and get really hot. It's gonna ruin things. So we do not want the sides to scorch, but we can't really mix it. What we can do is get a brush, wet it, and just wet the sides down. So occasionally you can take a look, run a wet brush along the side, and the water will wash the sugar down. That's it. So take a look, mind your sugar, be patient, and once it starts darkening and becoming a beautiful caramel color, then you can do something. I'll show you that in a moment though. For now, we wait and watch. So just while we're waiting, when you make your own caramel at home, it is just like transcendently good. Here you can add a little bit of extra salt. You could go to town, like take it darker, like get the bitterness out of the caramel if you like that sort of thing, which I do. Or you can leave it really nice and light and blonde. It's up to you, it's your caramel. And then you can do so many things with it. This is one of my favorite additions to a meringue-based buttercream. So you could make, let's say, a Swiss meringue buttercream. You can click up here for that. And then fold in as much caramel as you like. I actually used it for my caramel cake. It was like caramel, 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 caramel. That's a good recipe. You can click up here for that if you want. Caramel cake. So as you look into the pot right now, you can see it's like the least amount of work I've ever done on the camera. As you look at the pot, you can see that it's starting to bubble now. Clearly the outside is getting hotter than the middle. You're like, I want to stir that up, but you can't. If you stir it up, you're gonna like do some crystallizing nonsense, and your caramel is not gonna be smooth and silky drippy. It'll kind of form some crystals after it cools down. So we don't wanna do that. What you can do is give it a swirl. You can gently just swirl it around. That's all it needed, just a little bit. But now, wash the sides down. That's it, and then you keep waiting. It is kind of mesmerizing to just stare at the bubbles. It's like watching a fire, but it's even hotter, so don't touch. Okay, so my sugar is just starting to turn a light golden color. I want it to be a really nice amber. But like I said, you can make a dark caramel. For all of you bitter lovers, it takes the sugar down a notch and really like just wrenches some flavor out of it, or it could be a traditional light colored caramel. Okay. Golden brown, taking it off heat, it's off. This is the part that's gonna get crazy. Now I have 1 cup of cream, that's 240 ml, and whisk vigorously. And by the way, either have your extractor on or blow, because you do not want to get a steam burn. I came close, but I pulled it through. Okay, now what is this? We have a magical mixture of hot caramel. This is actually so perfect, I can't even tell you. We're gonna add in 5 tablespoons of butter. In you go. Just stir so it melts. I've made caramel before where it is like, it basically forms like a toffee or something when you add the cream in because it's a little too hot. But all you have to do is be patient and keep stirring and you can bring it back. Now, we're going to place this over a low heat, cook for an additional 2 to 3 minutes. I'm watching for the cream to see if it bubbles up. I want it to get nice and bubbly before I take it off heat. Bubbling vigorously, it's been about 2 to 3 minutes, so stir, 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 and remove from heat. It's off heat right now. I'm adding in a healthy ½ teaspoon of salt, so sprinkle that in, and you can give it a little bit of a stir or a swirl. So I'm gonna carefully transfer this some into a bowl. Look at that color, what? And then this can go into the mason jar. This caramel will keep for up to 2 weeks in the refrigerator. Just have it in an airtight container and keep it cool. If you're using your caramel right away and you want to cool it down fast, add it to a large dish, like a pie dish or a cake pan. More surface area. It'll be much less time than this takes to cool. As soon as this cools down, just a little bit, I'm gonna give it a taste. Before I take a taste, if you like this recipe, check out my frosting playlist. All my favorite frostings, ganaches, and all sorts of things to make every dessert delicious. Now it's time for a taste. Oh gosh, it's so good when you get that dark sugar because it brings out a ton of flavor and just a little bit of bitterness. I really hope you get a chance to whip some up. If you like my videos, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next frosting video.